What is up, static gamers? Toga G Mente I here today, and today we are going to be having another discussion about Halo 5's story and potential things that they can do. Now this is a biggie because Halo 6 is in development right now, and it is definitely important that the story comes out making sense, or they've ruined Halo 4 and 5, as they already have, made it very notorious, and Halo 6 needs to be the thing that succeeds, or Halo could be very well done for. So today's community discussion, I really want to know what you guys think you could do about the story. Now let's put some rules on this. Comment down below what you think. This was a question asked by Late Night on one of his videos, and I'm going to answer it in today's video. I also put it on a Q&A for him because I would like to know what he thinks if he sees this video, or whatever. Try to hit this video his way or something like that, or even the Act Man. I would actually really appreciate that. I'll probably tweet this video to them and that. But the question Late Night asked was, if you could not undo Halo 4 or 5, how would you make Halo 6 to make it make sense and make it good that the both sides of the fans, from the classics and the new, can understand, and you know, the middle ground basically. And then some people probably are just like, no, there isn't. But that question kind of leads up to what I want to talk about here in the story. Now I got a few things to talk about that here in a minute, but first let's talk about the campaign. So, as Late Night mentioned in his video, I'll be mentioning Late Night probably a lot in this video, that he started talking about how Captain Cutter in the opening speech pretty much states that it's like him indirectly messaging to us that the new style was pretty much fucked, and that the old style is all there is, the only type of Unity that can survive. And it's kind of funny that that lines up, because it's literally like, oh, this high-tech Unity can't do jack shit because their shit don't work now. But these classic Marines and stuff, this old Unity could. So what I want to get talking about is the main point of the campaign about this, is that if I was to make Halo 6 work, I would want to open it up with a flashback. Like, it just starts with Chief talking about what's going on, you know, or Locke, or both Chief and Locke, you know, just in a verse conversation. Screen starts off black and then shows like a flashback to when humanity first created Infinity, and then back to the present, seeing and then people just look happy. Like, it's just showing human society, like on Arcadia or something. Or I guess that's not Arcadia. Let's just say new Mombasa, if that's a thing. I don't know the cities and on Halo's universe, but let's just say that's happened, and then it goes back to the past, showing like Captain Lasky being promoted to Infinity and stuff like that, and then it goes back to the present, and then it kind of shows like Prometheans overtaking or something, you know, like policing really, but people still look happy. But then it goes back to the current time, and then it shows Chief separating for Cortana real quick, you know, from Halo 4, and then quickly bounces back to the present time, and then suddenly you see humanity running in fear, and then it goes back into the past like one more time or so, and then kind of just shows the original UNSC, how strong they are, and then like Lord Hood or whatnot, and then like they literally could tease Lord Hood's death or whatever. And like the first mission opens up where you're playing as a Marine that's under Lord Hood command or something, revolting against Cortana. And then you just, as you're playing this mission as a warm-up, like the first time ever to play as a Marine, because I know I've always wanted to play as a Halo Marine, see things from that perspective, but this is like the only mission that does it, because there's like no main character that you can really play for this position, as Chief and Locke are on saying Helios and all that. So it'd be playing as just this one Marine that's like, or ODST, that stands out a bit, and you're under command of Lord Hood trying to fight Cortana off, but the mission quickly shows that you can't fight, and that you slowly lose everything. Like, you're fighting with the will that the Unity currently has with its new tech, its new gear, and it's just like nearly impossible for you to fight back. But you're trying, you're killing Promethean, but they just keep coming and coming. It's kind of like a Gears of War setup, I guess you could say, how they had the defending of Fort Noctis, I think it was, or something like that, and Gears of War, but similar to that in the Halo 5 standpoint, you know. But you're playing as a Marine, and you're seeing the destructive, and then, you know, you see Lord Hood die, showing the symbolism that the current UNSC, the upgraded UNSC weapons and all that are ineffective because Cortana shuts it all down. Like, it literally shows the chaos going on in humanity on Earth the moment everything shut it down. And then the first mission ends with you watching as a Marine, the only symbol of hope, just leave its slip space, which was infinity. So this brings me to Halo Wars 2. In the beginning of Halo Wars 2, they mentioned that the Spirit of Fire took a random slip space. As far as my knowledge goes, there is no information as to what caused this. At that point in time, if you add the timeline up, that is the time Cortana started taking Earth and all that, and the Guardians were all about. Meaning we can say that accurately about the same time Halo Wars 2 starts is the time that Halo 5 ends. Hence the point of the arc. So, and they hint at the Halo ring. So what does this mean? Well, if those timelines add up, Infinity went into a slip space, and the Spirit of Fire somehow went into slip space without their core slip space drive, that just tells me Infinity crossed Spirit of Fire and wasn't made known quite yet. Now this sounds a little far-fetched because you would think, okay, Halo Wars 2, wouldn't they have noticed Infinity? Well, Infinity was running and can cloak itself, which would probably be not immune to Cortana, but maybe the Spirit of Fire, as Spirit of Fire is outdated and they just didn't know Infinity was there this whole time. But the reason why I think this is because there's only one time in Halo and in the lore that I can know of that when something without a slip space makes a slip space jump, and why? Because the Spirit of Fire is just out in space. There is nothing, no foreigner tech to make them jump, no Guardian that could, otherwise there would have been a Guardian at the beginning. The only logical sense is that Infinity actually ended up taking Spirit of Fire in its slip space path and literally, without colliding into it, somehow jumped Infinity. And so they do not know. And potentially Serena's last recording got wits of this happening. So Serena knew, but she had to follow protocol. Anyway, the reason why I think this is because the only time I ever hear of it is in Halo 2 when Amber Clad followed the Shadow of Intent. Was it right? Is that the name of the ship? Shadow of Intent, the Covenant ship, where they didn't have the slip space to follow it, but they followed in and entered the slip space stream, being able to follow the ship without a slip space core driver. That is the only way I could think of, and being with Unit, and being that Chief did it with just a single ship following the Didact, but it's the only other time, which doesn't happen at logical time. The Infinity is the only ship that could potentially bring Infinity to slip space, or I mean Spirit of Fire to slip space to deal with that. So that's where I think Infinity and Spirit of Fire are going to tie. Anyway, so I honestly believe in Halo 6, after this scene of Infinity jumping, we need to get a flashback into Halo Wars 2 just a little bit, like not too far, like right when Cortana started taking over, and shows Infinity and Captain Cutter getting together. Now what I could see happening in like the second mission here or whatever is that Captain Cutter is like, we found who's this? It's definitely UNSC, but it's not, you know, because this is like their first UNSC in contact. And Isabel's like, that's the Infinity. And then, because she would know, she's more up to date on the AI system or whatnot, and Isabel obviously has replaced this. But I really want to see a crossover between Lasky, Captain Cutter, Roland, and Isabel. I think they would be perfect matches. For one, I think it would be a good idea for the Spirit of Fire to meet up with Infinity because of the morality the Spirit of Fire has. Captain Lasky is in the same mindset the rest of the UNSC is in. Run, our shit's not gonna work. But Captain Cutter, he just will not run away from any, like, against all odds, he will force his way through. He does it with the Banished, and he did it with Covenant, he did it against all odds. He even escaped a exploding planet. They did what they had to because their home was Spirit of Fire, because their home was UNSC. Earth is at threat. So I feel that Captain Cutter's character, he will prep Lasky to do what Lasky needs to do to protect Earth, you know, because that's the whole reason they fight. Lasky would fill him in what's going on, would probably be like, we need to run, like Isabel was for the Banish. But then Cutter would be like, you know, we've been in drift for this, we may be out there, blah blah blah, you know, the same kind of speech he gave Isabel and the rest of the crew. And Isabel says, I've seen this man fight a force that reckoned the Covenant. He put you two together, and you could. I really want to see it happen, and I feel that's like the only way they could get out of the bind with Halo 6. Now, how it would end, I don't know. Now, Halo 6 needs to be through the eyes of Chief, so doing this will be a little bit hard. So they'll have to tie in, you know, the Arbiter, of course, Osiris team, and Blue team. But I feel that Osiris should be left in the dark for a little bit, as they played their role in Halo 5. And we need to go back to Chief, because now it's about Chief and Cortana again. So I feel that Halo 6 needs to be Blue team meeting Red team, though. You know, being two badass Spartans, and, you know, that they would kind of know each other just a little bit, you know, being similar to them, especially with Jerome being a badass and Isabel. It would remind Chief of how he was with Cortana and all that, you know, kind of a saddening moment. And then if Jerome was to become the next guy to replace them, I could see it, but Jerome's getting old too, so who knows. But it might wake Chief back up to that badass type of Spartan he is when he sees Jerome. You know what I'm saying? And then Lasky's like, you know, like, Chief, you know what you need to do. And so basically the Spirit of Fire and Infinity do what they need to fight Cortana, in which they will succeed on finding a way of stopping her. You know what I'm saying? Like, what inspiration could Infinity have? Where could they get it to find a means to fight back? They could go to Genesis, but what's Exuberant gonna do for them? What's at Genesis that can help fight Cortana? There is the Domain, and they could cut her off, but that's only a temporary solution, because they will reconstruct it. They need a permanent solution. And Cortana's got control of the Halo rings. It's gonna make evident at the end of Halo Wars 2, she has the Halo rings. But there's really only one way that I see things could stop. Now, if they go to the Domain, they need to find the semi-composed Didact, because he's like a virtual self, pretty much. And the Didact, I feel, should come back. But then this goes lore, and I'm going to get to this other part, which this is why I'm not going to go into detail of the campaign, and I'm going to leave it where it's at. But this is where I'm going to actually kind of talk about, like, the lore and stuff. I like the consoles explaining the lore as you play the game in a more simple state, like it'll explain it and stuff like that. That's a cool idea. But there's something I do want to mention for 343, and I want your guys' opinion on this too. Spartan Ops. Now hold on, before you start going, well, it wasn't that great in 4, let me explain my idea here. Because you know that simple Halo fans, like non-lore fans, hated Halo 4. And then people who were into lore, really good, actually liked Halo 4 because it was lore driven. But it was too much lore for the community, most of the community to handle. So they were like, what? So I think in Halo 6, and with Halo 5, they know they don't like it dumbed down either. So they know where the equilibrium is for the community now, hopefully. So when they do that for the campaign, what if, for those who really love the lore, they bring back Spartan Ops as a lore-focused, like, mini-series of the campaign, you know, and it's free. I like, don't make us buy for it like you did in Halo 4. Make it free and make it based off the lore. Like, do it like this. Say you find a data pad within the main campaign, and that thing will unlock a mission that explains the lore behind what's going on, and maybe even why Cortana is corrupt and evil. So that way there's a purpose for finding these data pads or something like that. You know, these consoles, lore consoles or whatever. I thought that Spartan Ops would be pretty cool to use that for. And then that the Spartan Ops, not only that, have fun levels. You know what I mean? And it's just a little extension to the campaign. And I thought that would be kind of a cool idea. I want to know what your opinions on that, if Spartan Ops was to return, if that's how you would want it done. For those of you who want the dumbed down campaign, but not too dumbed down, campaign is just kind of more in the better era. But then for those who really like the lore, imagine just Spartan Ops just exploring lore, you know, just Spartan Ops alone, like 5 missions for, like, whenever you find a lore pad, you know, or whatever in one mission or something like that. I think that would be pretty cool. You could, like, play, and then they could, you know, just put that in update. I mean, that's a little big to envision that, and I don't think that's going to happen like that. But if that's a thing you'd like to see, that's definitely a thing to say in the beginning. Well, guys, that is basically my concern about the campaign with Halo 6, because development is here, and it is important that we make very detailed as why we think these things. Because if we just sit there and say because it's not Bungie, they can't say, they're just gonna say, oh, haters gonna be haters, and they're not gonna say, you're not explaining why, really. Obviously we made the point why. Now it took people who understood how to explain it, like the Actman, Late Night, Hidden Xperia, etc. Get into details. Details is important. When you details, 343 can take it as constructive criticism and put it to heart when they're developing their game. And yeah, they're not going to please everyone, but the game is going to be better off if we can explain why this is and what we like better about this style more than the other style, why this affects me and why this doesn't. That's why we need to do this. So with that being said, what do you guys think about the Halo 6 campaign? I'm going to ask you the same thing Late Night asked all of us on his channel. If you were in control of Halo 6 but you could not change 4 or 5, undo what it did, how would you do the campaign to make it make sense, feel right, or go pretty well? Would you go lore driven? Would you go very dumbed down like they did in Halo 5? Or would you meet in the middle like Bungie did with Halo 1, 2, and 3? I want to know your thoughts and maybe start some conversations down below. And if you're also new around here, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. We do a lot of gaming commentary and just other videos in general, ranging from Xbox to PlayStation to PC. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. This is Koji Mente, signing out.